Today we're going to talk about the interim report published by the FCA on the retirement income review. There's certain things that have come out of the review that have concerns for the FCA. Their overall findings, however, have been pretty positive, and consumers have decided that they do like the retirement freedoms, which is what this review really is all about. There have been some certain things that have come out of this, where those with smaller pots, over half of them have been withdrawing the whole pots, although 94% of those do say that they have other income available. The interim report has thrown up a number of emerging issues. One of these is those people who are accessing their pension pots are doing it through the path of least resistance. This means that they may be choosing drawdown through their current provider without actually shopping around, and this can cause them to actually not buy the most appropriate option. Many consumers are also buying drawdown without taking advice, and again this could be an issue because they wouldn't necessarily be going into the most appropriate drawdown or investing in the most appropriate assets to actually sustain that drawdown going forward. In addition to that, there are those providers out there who used to provide open market annuities, and many of those providers have been leaving the market, which is actually causing there to be less opportunities for people to shop around and therefore giving less value for money for those people who actually do still buy an annuity rather than going into drawdown. The product innovation has been fairly limited, and the FCA would have thought that this would have actually been much wider at this point in time, and they are looking for providers to bring more innovation into the market to give more options available for those people accessing their pension freedoms. To deal with these emerging issues, the FCA have come up with some proposals that fall into three categories. The first category is additional protections, and this is where they're looking to help people who do go into drawdown to make the right choices through the life of their drawdown into their retirement. This would be things such as a default fund for investments, so they're calling it an investment pathway, and that they're looking at possibly putting in a cap on the charges for these particular pathways so people aren't being defaulted into funds with higher charges. The second thing that they're looking at is the promotion of competition. This is where they're possibly looking at the ways to actually build in a comparison tool for drawdown. Comparing drawdown products is very, very difficult because the charges are very variable depending on the different providers and where they're coming from. Those providers who are used to dealing with percentage charges will be very, very difficult to compare to those people who have flat fees such as the SIPs and SASs out there that we're used to dealing with. Drawdown evolved in the SIP and SAS world, so it's very difficult for people to compare those with the things that they understand from their old occupational schemes where they just had a flat percentage charge that they weren't necessarily aware of. The third proposal really focuses on tools and services that are available to people. This is looking at innovation within the market so that people can actually look at what's available to them and start engaging with their retirement sooner. One of the big things that's been looked at here is the possibility of changing wake-up packs. Wake-up packs currently go about 6 months before somebody comes up to retirement, and this is thought not to be early enough. So there's a possibility of wake-up packs going out a lot earlier. There may be the option of having more than one wake-up pack and making these wake-up packs shorter and easier to understand. The other thing that's been considered is possibly taking that away from providers entirely and giving it to an independent third party so everyone is getting the same information at the same time in their run-up to retirement. The most radical option, though, in my opinion, is the fact that they're looking at possibly putting these on the pensions dashboard when it comes available, which is great for those people who are willing to access the internet to get this information, but it may actually cause problems for those people who are looking to retire and really are not that internet savvy. So where do we go from here? The FCA are actually looking for responses to the questions that are raised within this interim report, and they're looking to actually further their thinking over the next few months, and they will actually be issuing the full reports mid-2018. Which should give us more answers and more options as to what people will be doing going forward.